Welcome to the Core of Success podcast. Entrepreneurship, success, health, life, big things are in your future. And now, your hosts, Sean and Mike.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is episode 23 of the Core of Success podcast.
Who's famous number 23?
Don Mattingly.
No, come on, man. Jordan, dude.
Well, you didn't say there's only
The
one
number
23.
Come on, 23, the first guy
Only
is Don
one?
Mattingly?
Don Mattingly, yeah.
No.
Listen, just because you
Fucking
grew up
Jordan,
watching
dude.
crap baseball, I grew up
That's
watching
true.
the Yankees.
23 for the Phillies. I don't remember who that would be.
Now
I don't know if it
listen
was
to
23.
me for a minute, because I have big news for you.
Yes. What do you got? Come
So
on.
Today, Mike,
Yes.
we're as we like to
Yes.
say, we're classing up the joint.
Oh,
Classing up
Really?
the joint, yes.
who's coming?
Well, the guy.
Because it's not us. Yeah,
not
no.
us. Yeah.
Who's coming?
So the guest we have today, believe it or not, Mike, I have actually unearthed somebody who went to Harvard.
Get out of here.
Yes.
In our business?
In our business, yeah. And not only went there, but has a doctorate. We're going to talk about that. So listen,
Let me tell you something. We went to TCNJ.
Yes,
Back then it was Trenton State College.
correct.
I've heard that's on par
Very
with
similar,
Harvard.
very similar, very similar.
Because I could have went to either one. I chose Trenton State College.
correct.
Just
yeah.
saying.
You actually tried to buy a Harvard T-shirt. They took it back. They took it back.
They didn't even let me do that. That's correct.
But there's actually a reason
Golly.
why I'm telling you this
Oh,
before
okay.
we start.
Oh,
And that
very good.
reason is we may be in way over our heads today. So don't try to
we
use
usually
big
are.
words like you've
No.
done before. You just be yourself.
Oh, shit.
Let our
Okay.
guests stick to the big words.
For sure, man.
Good. All right. Now that
Keep
we've
it
got that
simple.
out of the way.
No, I'm nervous. No, I'm nervous.
know.
I'm a little
It's all
nervous.
right.
I don't think I've spoken to anybody from Harvard
Me neither.
in a
No.
long time.
My cousin went there, actually. She went to Harvard Business School.
Really?
But when she talks, I don't understand either. She's smart.
Interesting.
So who we have today is a young lady by the name of Kristen Olson-Kopp.
Hmm.
And I don't know Kristen. I don't think I've ever met her, even though we probably run in the same circles. But I follow her on LinkedIn, and we're going to get into that in a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah.
And her content on there just knocks my socks off every time I see it. And the engagement, I find myself laughing. I find myself looking for it. And to me, that's the hallmark of great content. So what I did, Mike,
Yeah.
following in your example of sales, you got to ask for the sale, right? That's what
All
you
the
always
time.
say.
Yeah.
So
gotta
I
ask
just
for it,
reached
man.
out and
Ask for
said,
the
hey,
business.
Harvard, you want to be on the show? Much to my surprise, she said yes.
Wow.
So I don't know. She's feeling generous that day, I guess. But so, Kristen, welcome to the Core of Success podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
And you're not going to tell how you really got me. He blackmailed me, sent me some pictures that he found.
That's right. That's right.
Right. Buyer beware.
That's it.
Exactly.
I love
Right?
it. I love
Whatever
it.
works.
That's right. It So,
That's it.
Kristen, we really appreciate your time today. And but by way of introduction for anybody listening who's not familiar with you, tell us about yourself. Where are you from? Where did you go to school? How did you get into our industry?
Yeah.
I am from the Detroit area, specifically Grosse Pointe, Michigan, like Grosse Pointe Blank. And I did not go to Harvard.
Oh, you
So
did?
if you read, it says my degree from
She went to
Harvard.
Trenton State too.
I went to. I'm a Spartan, but if you see,
Oh,
it
Oh,
says
that's good too.
Well, what the hell's Harvard? All right,
it says
cut
I
the
have a
podcast.
doctorate in BS and sarcasm from Harvard.
Harvard.
So that's what you have to read the
Oh,
doctorate
sort of like
in
me
BS.
then.
Yes, BS.
Ah,
sarcasm,
she got you,
shenanigans.
dude.
Well, listen. Consider myself got because
Yeah,
Because-
gotcha.
You got. So
Oh, that's
yeah.
awesome. See, there you go.
Go green. I'm a Spartan, but I have been to Harvard to drink beer before.
that's
And
good.
that was
Oh,
a
okay.
lot of
Well, that
fun.
qualifies
And-
then.
Now I'm the vice president of a company called Wipes.com, WIPES. We sell wipes. And I'm an author and living the dream, I guess. Some
Now,
days.
when you say white, now good work on the Harvard thing there. Now you definitely are Ivy League in your content. I'll give you that.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
Thank you.
when you say wipes, just to clarify, we're talking about wipes that clean the machines, clean surfaces, that sort of wipes, right?
So our main thing is large count, 800 count, 1200 count disinfecting wipes that you'd see at a gym or grocery store. Now they're being used everywhere, but yeah, so the big large roll ones.
Very cool. So
yeah,
Love the wipes, dude. When I'm at the gym, I love the wipes.
yes, the
Yeah,
wipes are great.
especially-
Now let's jump
I don't
right
like
into
to
wipes
take
for a
anything
second,
home from
and
the gym.
we'll get back in a second to
Yeah.
to your story here. But
Yeah.
do you recommend, Kristen, as the queen of wipes, that you
What?
wipe down the machine first before you use it?
before and after, for sure.
Yes.
You want
That
to make
makes
sure that your
sense.
gym is using a disinfecting wipe,
Right.
because a lot of these large gyms out there, they're using sanitizing wipes. That's not
Right.
killing anything. It's just
Right.
like wet paper. So right now with all this garbage going around, especially like this coronavirus and stuff, you have to make sure you're
Yeah.
using
You know,
disinfecting.
that's a great point, but it goes back to what I told you, dude, 20 years ago.
What's that?
I wash my hands before I go to the bathroom
Wow, listen.
and after,
listen.
by the way.
That
I'm
So
with
she
ya.
is right
I'm with
along the
ya.
lines. Because, why you wash your hands before you touch?
hold on now.
Yeah.
I
This is
wash
a-
my hands before I go to the urinal and after the urinal.
This is a family show, but I'm going to clarify
I
that
do.
you wash your hands first for the protection of your hands.
Well, that is true. That's true.
I'm not
on a
going there.
serious- On a serious note,
Yes.
Kristen, Mike can actually really relate to this wiping first because this summer he caught a case of the MRSA. from a
Oh.
club.
man.
Tell us about that,
Yeah.
Mike. That was something. We almost left him in Catalina, me and my other friend. We almost left him there because we didn't want to hang with him. But
Yeah,
That's
man. I
brutal.
had a cut or something on my foot or some shit. I don't know what happened there, man. And yeah, I got it. Was at the gym and then, walk around the locker room, whatever. I don't know. I've been into some crazy places, but yeah, that thing, I was the guy that never thought it could happen to me, right? I was
Mhm.
tough for those little germs. And
Oh,
man, that
it's
thing blew up like a watermelon. It was
It's
crazy.
brutal.
And of course, they're my friends, Sean and Michael San Cyprian, of course, mention his name every podcast. No sympathy. No sympathy. walking
No.
around.
we took you to interrupted our vacation and took you to the ER and sat while we went and had
Well,
lunch.
that is true.
Like,
What a
Well,
buzzkill
Michael,
you are.
Michael helped me, not you
Right,
so
yeah.
much, not you. But yeah, man. I mean, it's a serious thing. Look, when I go to the gym, especially now, I'm not bringing nothing home from there, So the
Right.
wipes are huge, and thank you so much for providing that product. It's
Yeah, and they do
Awesome.
kill MRSA. Our wipes kill MRSA. That's
See?
probably the number one
I could
reason
have been
that people
saved
get.
then.
I know. Next, let me know. I'll send you guys some
Oh
free
my
cases.
gosh.
His
Yes.
gym clearly wasn't using the
No.
wipes brand.
Well,
No.
before this gym, no.
But
Now,
you better plan it.
the good thing is that you wiping before and after you sell more wipes too. So I like
Yes.
it.
Oh yeah,
You're
Yeah.
being
There you
healthy and we're selling more product. But speaking
Yeah.
of wipes, so how do you get into that? Like, why wipes?
yeah.
Well, it was my dream since I was a little girl.
Yeah.
Not really. I'm just kidding. You want honesty? It was 11 years ago on July 4th. I was drunk at a bonfire with a bunch of my friends from high school. And two of my friends at 3 a.m. approached me, and my nickname is Diggy. And I said, Diggy, we just started this company called Fit Wipes. Will you quit your job and come do sales for us? And
Wow.
buzzed at 3 a.m. I said, oh, okay. And then remembered, a couple days later, I just took a new job. I have to quit my current job. And started a week later at Fit Wipes.
I made many bad decisions at 3 a.m., but that actually is a good choice.
I know,
That's what you
right?
made.
You did.
It's
I was
the
going to
best
say that's
3
actually
a.m.
how I met my second wife.
Oh,
So
sure.
we're still married. So yeah, sometimes it works out. Yeah.
There you go. I love
Yeah,
it.
that's true. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Not a
So that's how-
second wife. So my decision making wouldn't be
Right.
the best. But so what were you doing prior to the night of the buzz?
I've always been in sales. So
Oh,
at that time I was doing nursing home type stuff. But yeah,
Hmm.
I've been in sales since I was 5 years old.
Very cool. Very
Yeah,
cool.
you are.
Seriously.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll
That's
talk
one-
about that in a second because I know you, as you mentioned, you are an author, but you seem to be, when I look at your content on LinkedIn, you seem to be a master storyteller, and even verbally, right? Just you set that scenario. We could picture you at the bonfire, a little buzzed, and
Right,
someone
right.
yelling the name Diggy, and just the way you set up a story.
Yeah.
And that's a skill, right? Not everybody
sure.
can do that, but it's powerful. And so have you always been good at telling stories?
I don't know. I didn't know I was good at telling stories. But I don't know. I've always been. It's just I'm really interested in people, and I don't know. Relationships are really important to me. Friendships have always been super important to me. So I mean, I guess it's kind of come from that. And I've always been writing since I was 5, 6 years old, and so I guess I am a storyteller
I think
and a salesperson.
what I saw too on your LinkedIn profile, looking through your posts and your engagement there, is like, you know, you don't take yourself too serious, right? And that's the thing. I love that. I was reading through some of your posts, and you know, we'll get into a little bit, but don't be a D and all these other things, right? It's like, don't take yourself too serious. You know,
I'm
a
a
lot of
train
times
wreck
it's all
that-
about me, and I think that's just, you know, it's really very cool you do that. It's neat.
I just try and keep it real so people know that
Right.
there's real people out there, and I
Keep it
don't
real,
wake up
baby.
at 4 a.m. doing yoga, and I have purse wine in my purse and all that.
Love
Don't
it.
judge.
So speaking of LinkedIn and your storytelling abilities, I was looking this morning, and I told Mike this, and we were both floored. 54,000 followers on LinkedIn. That's
Really?
That's incredible. Yeah, and I'm sure it's probably
Wow.
guessed that it's not why you do it or that's an important metric to you, but it speaks to the value of the content that you're putting out there. Because I've always noticed the engagement, right? Every post is 600-700 people commenting and liking
Crazy,
and loving
man.
and all
That's
that.
awesome.
It's just incredible. But is that something you set out to do, or like why are you sharing this all on LinkedIn? Like, what's the intent?
Well, to start, I just started doing it to try, and I signed up for a LinkedIn account to try and find gyms and fitness clubs and things like that, reach out to CEOs. And then I just saw people, sharing their stories, and I just decided to start sharing mine. And people started following me, and then it turned into, we were Fit Wipes, and I was just going after gyms and everything. But then I started connecting with people in different industries and found out that airlines like Delta are saying, they need wipes. So they started buying my wipes. General Motors.
Wow.
I had a chicken farmer in Arkansas reach out to me, and he's like, Kristen, do your wipes have A, B, and C in it? And I was like, yeah. He's like, well, I think I can use these on my eggs. So I was like, okay.
Wow.
And sent him a sample roll. The next thing you know, we're in Tyson Chicken wiping down eggs. So we dropped the fit from our name, and we just became wipes.com. And
Wow, crazy. Awesome.
so it's really changed my life. And the piece of advice I give to people are connect with people outside of your industry, because you never know. Like, I never knew that we'd be in airlines and
That's right.
And
hotels and the food industry, so
I think
crazy.
that's incredible advice.
Amazing
You know,
story.
we're big proponents of the LinkedIn here too. We try every day. And as I mentioned earlier, that's how we met. But I think you just gave some real gold there, saying don't just connect with people like we're in fitness, right? Don't just connect with that. Reach outside of it and just show up every day, right? Like you're every day on there telling some story. And you, like you said, you couldn't have fathomed what that turned into.
Right. Absolutely. And and people want to people care about, you and the relationship. And if they like you and they trust you, they'll want to buy your product. But I mean, I barely ever, I did recently do a post about the coronavirus because that's something new, and about wipes, but I usually never just post about wipes. Like at the bottom, I'll do like wipes.com or something like that, buy the wipes, but I'm not just going to tell stories about the statistics of wipes, because that's boring. So just try and build that relationship, and you want to work with people that you like and trust, right? Don't we all? We'd rather do business with people we like. So it's all about that, just building a relationship. And LinkedIn's such an amazing platform because, I mean, it actually gives you a voice, and people can see who you are as a person instead of just your name and a signature panel on an email, So I'm surprised more people don't utilize it and put themselves out there, because it's a great tool.
You think about it, essentially everyone in business is on there, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Think about it. Everyone in business is on there, and not only in your specific industry, but as you found out, all industries, and where that can lead. Now, if you had have you had folks reach out to you on LinkedIn about wipes, especially like, hey, Kristen, I'd like to get a quote, or I'd like to talk to you more about the product?
Every single day, all day. That's every time I do a post, I don't even look for people anymore. They just come to me after I do post and everything. And
Amazing, right?
I've gotten like 95 to 98% of all my sales have been through LinkedIn.
Wow.
I've even had-
hold on,
Hold on, let
Kristen.
me
Hold
write
on
that
now.
down. 95
That's
to
incredible.
98%.
95 to 98% on LinkedIn just by showing up every day. And here's what blows my
Is
mind
LinkedIn a
about it, Mike.
sponsor of our podcast?
They are
yet?
not yet, but they
No.
may be after this. But here's what blows my mind about that too. Is like I
Yeah.
agree with you 100% when you said I'm surprised that more people don't do it. And what gets me most is it's free.
Yeah.
Free.
Right.
Costs nothing but a few minutes of your
Absolutely.
time to get the results that you have gotten. I mean, if you're not using that platform, and like you said, Mike, everybody we want to talk to is on there, right?
Right.
And you're finding
Absolutely.
absolutely incredible.
It's fun too. Like I've had
Yes.
some crazy fun things happen to me. Like NASCAR reached out to me, a team from NASCAR, and I got to design a whole NASCAR with wipes all over it. We went to Bristol, and I had some famous race car driver call me one day because he saw a LinkedIn post, and we became friends. And it's weird. My boss came down and said, "Are you really talking on the phone to," like, he was my hero growing up. So I was like, this is weird stuff, like it can really change your life.
That's
Put
amazing.
yourself out there.
Go ahead. I think some people, though, getting back to LinkedIn for a minute, is
Yeah.
some people, it's like, well, I don't know what to say. And like they take themselves so serious, right? Again, going back to what I said about you is you don't take yourself too serious. And
No.
it drops those walls down. It's like, oh, man, she's cool, man. She's a normal person like us going through the same stuff. But people, when I talk to, are like, how do you guys do that every day? I'm like, well, you go on where it says post and you just type something. That's pretty much how you do it. And they're looking at me like,
Exactly.
well, I don't know.
Whatever's on your mind.
I don't know what to say. I'm like, well, what happened? It's almost like Seinfeld. Well, what happened to you today? Well, that's a show.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's like
Exactly.
I'm a big fan of Gary Vaynerchuk, as I've mentioned. I've gotten to meet him several times, and I just love what he does. And he said to us one day, I was at a seminar with him and a few other business owners, and he said, just say what happened. That's it. Just tell what happened. And that's when I look on yours. That's what you're doing. You're sharing these stories. You're sharing these anecdotes. And like you, to your point, you never pitch on there. Yeah, you drop the name and of course, got it. Or yes, Corona is super relevant, so that makes good sense. But I find that's a big mistake people make on LinkedIn is they connect with you and then immediately hit you with a sales pitch. Or everything is about them. Look at me, look at me, look at me. And as you said, you want to do business with people you like and trust. Well, nobody really likes people to talk about themselves all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's boring,
Yeah. Boring.
The thing too with sales is the biggest challenge, I believe, is getting out of obscurity where people know who you are, right? Because every day we talk about, hit the phones. You got to get out there. You got to have people. This way you have that platform where people really do get to know you. They kind of.
Yesterday I did some stupid post about what happened to me at Dunkin' Donuts about this lady. I don't know if you read it.
Yeah.
The lady that was yelling at the workers there, and I asked her if she needed a hug, and she gave me the double bird. She flicked me off, and everyone in line started laughing, but I got a free coffee and stuff. So I just did this little post about what just happened. It took me 30 seconds to write, and it's already gotten like 200,000 views and
Wow.
a few thousand likes and stuff. And right there, I mean, that's all those people, and I mean 30,000 people looking at my profile, so that shows them wipes.com, and then that brings the traffic to the website. And right there, instead of how many you can't make 200,000 cold calls in a day, so
Love it.
Yeah,
I'm not saying to not use the phones, but why not use both of them, right?
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. I saw that post. I see all your posts, but it just reminded me because exactly what I just said. Just say what happened today, and look at that, man. And what you couldn't buy that, right? You couldn't buy that type of exposure, and you got a free coffee, so that's kind of cool.
Right? It's a win-win, The only thing
I was on the edge of my seat. I'm like, where's this going? So you ask her if she needs a hug. I'm like, what's going to happen next? I was expecting you to, like, she broke down in tears and hugged you and shared her life story, and you're like, no, she flipped me off with 2 fingers. I'm like, that was beautiful.
No, it's funny. You had a Dunkin' Donuts story too. You might want to tell
Story
that.
for another day, Michael. Story
I'll tell
Well, I
you.
want to hear this.
That's a
I'll
good
tune
one.
in for that.
I am the inspiration for the America Runs on Dunkin'. So,
That's a
we'll
great
share
one.
that another time.
Yes.
I love it.
So,
Just,
so you mentioned earlier too, Kristen, that you have been selling since you're 5. So I gather that you love sales. What do you like most about it?
The people. So that's,
Yeah.
I mean, I really literally have been selling since I was 5. My parents talk about it all the time. I'm an only child. And whenever anyone would come over to play, I would make them paint rocks and sticks, and we'd go door to door and sell them. And then I wish I could say I was brilliant and like I saved all this money and started my own business. No, I just went to 7-Eleven and bought candy and
sure.
nerds and gobstoppers, but that's all I wanted to do was make stuff and sell it. So it's just the people. It's fun. It's building a relationship, and it's fun to me. Like it's a challenge, and I like that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
What do you love most about it other than the people, right? Like what do you take? I'm sorry, my question, let me rephrase that. What does it take, right? You have to have this love of people, but what else does it take to be a master salesperson?
Well, the balls things helps, the genderless balls, just to put yourself out there. And I mean, you do have to like kind of have some thick skin, and because I mean, when I do these posts, I do get, not everyone's going to love you. It's just like life, the 80-20 rule, right? So yesterday I did that post, and I've had all these women saying, like it's inappropriate to offer people hugs, and people saying, were you being sarcastic? So I mean, you do put yourself out there, and you just have to have tough skin and just learn to ignore people or just keep doing you.
Wow.
But
crazy.
Yeah.
What else as far as the mass? I know that you're, the queen of wipes and the queen of LinkedIn right now, it sounds like. But what other, especially for like because, I'm in sales as well, and I love it. I love it like you. What would you say to a young somebody new in the industry, or, also if I can just say, a lot of folks now are like me, where they had a career, say in government or teaching, military, and now they're getting out and they're going into, whether they're starting their own business as an entrepreneur or they're, going into sales. Is there a certain quality or certain things you could say to them?
I just say wherever you are, use that. So it doesn't matter. You might not be at your dream job in your head. It might not be the company that you've always wanted to work for, but give it like not even 100%. Try and give it like 1,000. So like make yourself the queen of staple selling or whatever it is, and just let everyone see how much passion you have there. And I mean, my dream was not to sell disinfectant wipes. I mean, let's face it, whose dream is to sell disinfectant wipes? But I was like, this is my lot in life, and I'm going to sell these disinfectant wipes like nobody ever has. And I'm going to have fun with it, and I'm going to enjoy my everyday. So it doesn't matter. You might not be at your dream company, but that can become your dream company. It's all what you put into it. So I just say, get yourself just a job. Doesn't have to be your ideal job, a perfect job. Just get yourself a job somewhere, and then just do it times 1,000. Like put all your passion, like no one's ever had passion before, and just show that you're all in and become obsessed with that product, and then you'll start to love it.
Yes, there you go. Love it.
Yeah, those are some really key phrases: being all in, right? Enjoying what it is, the path that you're on, and being obsessed. I have a sign hanging right over my door here. You can see it says obsessed. I agree with you. You have to be obsessed with it, because if you're not, the guy or girl who is going to kick your ass. For sure.
Exactly. And people want to know, like, I have people every day that come up to me, be like, I don't give a shit, excuse my language, about wipes, but you make me want to. Like, if you love these wipes so much, they must be that fabulous, so people see passion. And
people see passion.
Dana White, I don't know, are you a UFC fan at all, Kristen? You watch UFC? Or
my boss is a huge one. I've seen a little bit.
Remember Dana White was saying, he's like, the weekends, to him, he was like, man, the weekends kind of suck sometimes unless there's a fight or something, because I just can't wait to get back and start talking about what we're going to do next and what's next for us. And I can't wait till Monday. And he said, man, if you're waking up hating life on Mondays, and we've talked about this before, like if you're just living for the weekend, you're going to lose that way. If you don't really love, like you said, I love the fact you say you give 1,000%, whatever you're doing, it's that passion, being obsessed, man, that's all the difference in the world, man. When you just get up and you feel great about what you're doing. Yeah, we're gonna have shitty days, but you have that passion. Like, man, I'm just in my element. This is what I want to do, and I'm having a blast doing it. And I'm winning, and I'm doing
Exactly.
it. Yep.
If you love your everyday, you're a success at life. That's what I believe, seriously.
I was saying this to someone just the other day. I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years. I haven't had a day off in 20 years, right? I'm not saying I sit at my desk. I'm not one of those assholes that says, I work 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy. But literally every day I'm checking in on something, right? I'm looking.
Oh, yeah. And you're dreaming and you're thinking of things. Yeah.
But you don't think about it because you love it so much. But that passion is something I think more people really need to dial into, whatever it is, right? Coffee or softball or wipes or fitness for us, but whatever it is, find that. But let's talk about another one of yours, Kristen. I know that you're an author, right? And you've written some books. I know I believe I just read your second one was just approved and is coming. So tell us about that passion.
That's cool.
So I wrote these children's books years ago. I have a few different books written, but through LinkedIn, I said, does anybody out there know a publisher? Because I've been trying for 10 years to get my books published and I just can't. And I had so many people reach out, and then I had a friend, Kristen Cherry, that sent my book to her publisher, and within 2 weeks I had a contract. Wow. And so that's how it's called, Ollie Olson, the Ostracized Ostrich, and it's about a couple that goes to Africa to adopt what they think is a baby, and they bring this thing home, and it turns out it's different because it has a beak instead of a nose. And you fast forward, and Ollie Olson's in 3rd grade in Detroit, Michigan, and he doesn't fit in because he's a 6'4" ostrich. But it's just teaching kids that, you don't have to try and fit in, like use your different as your thing. And the series is just about like pulling and just being cool to be yourself. So the second one that's coming out is my favorite because it's Ollie Olson Saves the Detroit, and it's going to be all about save the D-Day and ways we can help give back in Detroit. But I mean, it's fun. It's got humor. He's got a farting female beagle named Doug and a best friend that's really bad named Rad and stuff. So my goal is to get it turned into a cartoon someday. I already wrote the theme song and everything. So
that is fantastic. Beautiful messages that you're putting out, and targeting the children with those messages is exactly right. It has to start there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, I have two daughters, 10 and 7, and that stuff you're saying, especially with regard to the first book, man, hits home for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of parents, right?
Yeah, I have a 7-year-old little girl.
Feel comfortable in their own skin.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's so important that they know that, and
love it.
Like,
good
yeah,
stuff.
Lucy, my daughter, she wears cowboy hats to school every day and mismatched stuff. I'm like, whatever, you do you, girl, right?
Beautiful, man.
Goes back to that passion, right? She's passionate about that. And it's funny you mentioned that about children's books, because we here at the Abs Company have a dreams program, and everybody works on the team has a dream. They share, and you can share whatever you want to share, and we put it on a wall. It's out there in the office for everybody who comes here to see. And recently mine was to write and publish a children's book. So really. So I took a class and I signed up. It was funny because I said this, it's my dream, and next day in the mail I get one of these, little pamphlets for a community school. I'm just reading through it, because I was bored that day. And there it is. Write and publish a children's book. I'm like, no way. So I sign up, make a long story longer. I sign up and I figure I'm going to get some, parolee up there, doing his community service teaching. But the guy I got teaching the class has for 30 years has been an agent, and his job is to, pass along the books to the agency, knows exactly what they're looking for, so on and so forth. And I just got a master class in 6 weeks on everything about children's books. And my book is called What Are You Gonna Do? And it's, it's one of the things we say in Jersey all the time. What are you going to do? And my main character is a guy named Jersey Joe, and he's a monkey. And I'm going down the path. What's really cool about it is I was telling Mike this, and Mike has one of his daughters, as he mentioned, she loves to draw. So she became my illustrator. Yeah. So now it's become like a family affair. And, within the next month or so, that's going to get published as well. So just super excited about
I love it.
And, it's interesting because I think it comes back to storytelling, right? You have this way to tell a story, and to bring that full circle in business, that matters. Whether you're in marketing, which I believe we all are, or in sales, you have to tell a good story. So it doesn't surprise me. And same on LinkedIn. Again, go back to your amazing stat. 95, 98% of your business is coming. It's not coming because you're on LinkedIn. It's coming because you're telling amazing stories on LinkedIn. People are getting to know you from your screen persona, which I'm trusting is your real persona, and they want to do business with you. So I think it all just really ties together beautifully.
Yeah, it's been working, so I'm just going to keep doing it.
Keep it up.
Right? And I love that thing you said about the illustrations, because my daughter, I let her do 3 pages of the illustrations too. So her drawings will be in it. So I think that's so exciting that, you know.
Awesome.
Yeah, Carly, my
Like-
daughter Carly's, she couldn't be more excited, you know, and she loves, like Sean said, one of her passions is art and music, but she loves drawing. And yeah, just to see her being engaged with it, it's been really special.
I love it.
Beautiful.
Well,
beautiful
what's the
stuff.
name of it again? I want to get it as soon as it comes out. Jersey Joe.
Mine is called, what are you gonna?
Oh, what are you gonna do?
What are you
Okay.
gonna do?
What are you going to do?
Okay.
Like we say.
What are you gonna do?
Mhm.
Okay. Gotcha.
And you know, I'm working what my guy taught me, and not to get tangential here, but it's like they always want you to set something up that can come in a series like you're doing. And so my series is around these weird things we say in New Jersey, and I turn them into stories. So it's but again, it's all about the art of storytelling. But let's talk about a few of these stories that you tell us on LinkedIn. Yeah, I love them all, and I could go on for hours about this, but a few of them really struck me, and some of your themes. And the first one was about tenacity. You talked about that in some of your posts. So tell us about your theory on tenacity.
Well, that's probably the number one word I would use to describe myself, tied with passionate. Because I've been told no like 10,497 times. You know, through publishers, from jobs, from customers, to boyfriends that really messed up. And you know, you just have to keep going, wipe yourself off. I mean, you know, I said wipe, but
there you go.
wipe yourself up and keep going. Seriously, like I live for the no now, because it's just a challenge. I'm like, okay, bring on the no. You're expecting it, and you just know how to get around it. So tenacity is everything. We all fall down, and that just makes you even more passionate for next time. And then you appreciate what you have more. And I think if people that have never been told no, you know, they don't appreciate life, and they don't appreciate the sale. They don't appreciate that feeling and the customers as much as someone that's felt that hunger, if that makes any sense.
Makes
So,
perfect sense.
Yeah.
I thrive on tenacity.
Where do you think you got that from? Was that something you learned, or is that something, I mean, you said when you were 5 years old, you were painting rocks and selling them in the neighborhood, going door to door, which is, you know, as a 5-year-old, man, I mean, that takes some real, some courage to do that, right? Knocking on somebody's door and doing that. But so a little bit sounds like it was in your DNA, but were you also learn it as well, you think?
I think something's always just been inside me that maybe believing in myself or something, but I just always had a feeling that I was going to do something. And so maybe other people didn't see it, but I just didn't believe them. So I was like, okay, you watch. So I think that's what it was.
It's a critical factor in success.
Great, man.
I say the words "keep going" all the time. I say it to myself 100 times a day. Keep going, keep going.
Right.
And it's. But I think you're right. People who haven't experienced that failure, or they don't know what is going to happen after a failure, they don't learn that skill yet, and that is a critical factor in success, which is what we are about here on the Core of Success. But let's go to another one. I love this one too. Don't be a dick.
Seriously, pretty self-explanatory, right?
Yep.
Seriously, like, don't be a dick. I see every day. I just saw it today at 7-Eleven. Some lady went in there and she shortchanged. She just threw a bunch of change at the cashier, and this poor little girl was just counting it. She didn't have enough, and I was like, how much does she owe you? And she's like, 50 cents. And I only had a card. I was like, put it on my card. And she's like, no, I'll just. And she took it out of her purse and put 50 cents. I mean, they don't make a lot of money. Like, you need to be treated like that, you know. So don't be a dick. That's why I think every single person should be forced to do something in the service industry. I've been a waitress, I've been a hostess, I've been a bartender, you know, go into retail and learn that side of it. Everyone should be forced to do that. So you actually see the human side aspect to that, and that these are real people just trying to make a living. They don't need to put up with your shit, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, don't be a dick.
Good life lesson for sure. I agree with you on the service. I was a waiter in college, and you get that perspective. But again, I think it's like tenacity, and like Mike was saying, it is definitely one of those things about not being a dick that's kind of inside a lot of people. You just wouldn't do it, and you don't have to be a waiter to know that. You just don't be a dick. And but I think it dovetails it back into your social strategy too on LinkedIn. Being a dick on LinkedIn is telling everybody what to do and telling them and pitching them immediately. That's a dick. And nobody cares about that. They don't know you yet.
Right.
Get to know them, build the relationship, do all those things. So I think there's a lot of factors in that one. I've been saying that to Mike for 25 years.
Right. Yes.
He's learning. He's learning. Maybe
Seriously, when I never.
Yeah, I'd say, a good thing too on that was they always say, like, when you're interviewing someone or when you're first getting to know someone, you take them to a restaurant, you go somewhere, you see how they treat others there, right? Because they could be like as nice as can be to you and so respectful in the office, and then you go to lunch with them and they treat the waiter like they're just a real asshole to somebody. You're like, there you go.
Absolutely. I did a post
Somebody
about.
that can't really defend themselves. How are you going to treat them then, right?
I think that they should be held at supermarkets.
Like it's like, man, what a turnoff right away, right? And I've been around some incredibly successful people that treat those people just like they were their sister, brother, or anything, and then that really tells you a lot, man. So
yeah, their character. But no, I say that they should be held at supermarkets because I don't know, on my tagline on LinkedIn it says I'm a putter awayer of carts because that's my pet peeve. Like it drives me crazy. Like people that just leave their carts wherever, they don't pull one in or they're rude. So yeah, you can tell a lot about someone like that.
Leave the chicken in the cookie aisle. They take it out of the cart.
Right? Drives me crazy.
That's it. So one more for you, Kristen.
Yeah.
And this one, dream big.
Well, yeah, the sky's the limit. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I've been told so many times, like my boss, people have started reaching out to me about doing speeching engagements, and I've done a couple, and doing a keynote coming up and things like that. He said, Diggy, you don't give speeches. I'm like, well, I don't yet, but it doesn't mean that I can't. Like, like
coming up.
Right. You always have to, start somewhere. So dream big. Like I'm never going to say no. I like to push myself out of my comfort zone. And then, it's kind of scary when you do your first speech and everything like that. But if I can help other people or meet other people or inspire other people, then it's worth it. So, and I actually have really started to like the speaking engagements and the gigs. So dream big. I mean, just because you aren't, that yet, I mean, doesn't mean that that's not what you're going to be. So we're all works in progress, right?
Yeah, and if you've heard some of our podcasts, we typically leave off with what I say is big things, right? Which you'll hear today, but that's what I believe as well. It's like you dream big, you go after big things. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Life isn't about playing small. It's not about average. It's about going big for sure. Yep. Absolutely.
But here's the thing on these three, and you guys were touching on it, is when I brought up all three of these, I said tenacity and keep going. I said, don't be a dick. And I said, dream big. And your reaction to each one of those, Kristen, was like, yeah, no shit. Right. Because they seem very obvious. But the beauty of it is that they are not very obvious to a lot of people, which is why we're trying to bring this message across. But they're very simple in concept. Right. Look, if you mastered those three things, right? Don't be a dick, dream big, and keep going when you fall down. You'd have a pretty good life. But I think hearing it again and again and again, or Mike's big things, people run around the office here saying that big things, and they say that stuff because it's seeping in, and you continuing to spread your message, I think it's so powerful and so needed, and you're to be commended for that, for sure.
Oh, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
I want to hear a little bit, because I know you're a big Caddyshack fan. And I was reading one of your posts where you said you got one of the big whales out there, one of your big clients. He was ignoring you, or she was ignoring you, right? And then you sent him a picture of one of my favorite dudes, man, Bill Murray, right, in Caddyshack. And I love
Carl Shackler,
Yeah, so that was the thing, right? You sent him this picture Bill in the weeds, right? I love that. Tell us.
Yeah, where he's like hiding, and I was like, I'm outside your window.
'Cause that took some balls for you to send that, right? I mean,
Right?
'cause that could have went either way, but you're like, look, this
Either
guy's
way,
not
he
calling me
could've-
back anyway, so I can't lose.
Right. He could have called my boss and complained about me, which,
Right.
has happened, from time to
Sure.
time from a LinkedIn.
Calling me
point of
too
view.
much, Sean. What would you say?
He called her again.
That's right.
Yeah.
What's
Calling
that?
too much. Yes, she is, man. You got to get. What's one of your other favorite?
Wait,
What's
so
one of your favorites?
hold on. Let me
Go ahead.
let you finish that story real quick
Oh,
because I
yeah.
missed the punchline.
Oh,
so
okay.
you send the Caddyshack, you're in the weeds. So what happens?
So he just messaged me back that he spit, his coffee out, and I said, I have a wipe for that. And he happened to be the biggest Carl Sheckler fan in the world, so we had that in common. He's like, how can I say no to Carl? I can't. So and
Oh.
I got the sale through that, and we're friends now. And
That's
Love it.
amazing.
That's it.
And
Yeah.
that's
You
something
never
that
know.
you can't, we were talking just this morning about scripting calls and I believe that's really important to have structure and standard, but there's certain things you can't teach, right? And letting your personality shine through. Mike, you're really good at this too. Like I've heard Mike use the word like dick and balls in like a high level meeting. I'm like, Jesus Christ. But people respond to it because here's the thing with both of you. You guys are like kindred spirits for sure. Both of you are very authentic, right? It's not forced and it's not like, oh, she's trying to be funny, where Mike's just trying to be the cool guy. It's who you are, and people, I think, are very attracted to that, and it's clearly working.
Right. Well, you just have to be relatable, right? We can
Yeah.
all relate to real. So go with what you know, right? Don't try and be anything else. So go with what works for you. And I mean, some people aren't going to like it, but I mean, not everyone's going to like you anyways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nope. For
Nope.
sure. No, absolutely not. And the way you got that. So tell me a couple of do you have one or two go-to quotes on Caddyshack?
Well, I mean, the total consciousness thing. And, so I have that going for me, which is nice. That's something I use all the time. But my boss and I have this little thing, like we have an intercom. He's upstairs, I'm downstairs. And whenever we get a big sale, I go, oh, Jesus, Danny. So that was I don't know if you remember his girlfriend
Yeah.
in the show, but yeah. So he knows I got a big sale if I say, oh, Jesus, Danny. So,
Love it. Or it's in the
Yep.
hole. It's in the hole. You can do that.
yep.
One. Well,
Yep.
Cool.
There's a lot of good ones.
Beautiful.
So, Kristen, before we let you go, here on the Core of Success, we have some philosophies on what it takes to be successful, and we have some, reasons why we believe people oftentimes are not successful. And I like to ask guests these questions. It's my belief that a lot of people do not find the success that they're looking for because, one, they don't know what it is, right? They have not been able to define success. And number two, something we've touched on already, is that they're afraid to fail even when they do know what they're going after. So I like to ask guests this question because we try to bring on people who are successful and get your take. So first and foremost, are you afraid to fail? And I think I know the answer.
God, no.
God, no. Love it.
No.
And that is great. What would you say to someone who does have a fear of failing?
That's how you learn.
Yeah.
So failing can be good. I mean, I'm glad I had a company called Diggy's Doggies. Oh my gosh, I'm glad that failed, or I'd be walking dogs.
Wow.
So I mean, failure can be good, and you can you learn. Everything's a lesson, right?
Good.
Yeah.
Great
100%.
lesson there. And so with that being said, you're not afraid to go after the things that you want, which I completely respect. So define success. What does it mean?
Enjoying your everyday, loving what you do, loving the people around you, making a difference. If you can influence one person, or I mean, not influence, but inspire or excite, or, one person, if you can make a difference in somebody else's life every day and you love your everyday, I'd say that you're successful.
It's beautiful. And I love your answer because nothing was about what you're going to get or material things that a lot of people in today's day and age do define as success. And I agree with you.
Yeah, it's kind of how you feel moment to moment, right?
Oh, for sure. And you can't
It's
take any of that with you when you go, right? So
yeah, the more hours, the more minutes, the more seconds of the day where you feel really strong, you feel good, just know you're doing the right thing. That's going to be a really good day, right?
Sure.
And I think the more of those wins we can stack, that it's really that's just, I think that just makes for a successful life and somebody that's going to win. Somebody that's
Well,
winning.
sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, even at Christmas time, I tell everyone, don't get me presents. I don't want things. Just give me an experience. If they ask, what
Yeah.
I want, let's just do an experience together. So,
Love it.
yep, that's what it's
So,
about.
Kristen, how can people find you?
Yeah.
Wipes.com. Ali Olson, ostracized ostrich. Kristen, Kristin, Olson, Olson -Cott, KOTT. Kristen@wipes.com is my email. And you can call me, email me, LinkedIn me. I don't think you can't send me a request on LinkedIn, but you could follow me or send me an email and I can send you a request.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Beautiful.
So where do I get the children's books though? Where do I get that?
Amazon, Barnes and Noble,
Okay.
anywhere. Yep. Online. There's Ali Olson, the ostracized ostrich.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Well, Mike, I told you at the start of this podcast that I was classing up the joint. How'd we do?
Yeah, 150%, man. Let me tell you something. If you weren't here, it'd be through the ceiling.
Right.
But
But I am.
yeah. But no, incredible.
And I am better for it.
I'm just blown away by so much what she said, but 95 to 98% of the sales coming through LinkedIn. So guess what? Anyone that's out there, if you're not on LinkedIn,
That's being
that is being a dick.
We'll leave it there, Kristen.
Love it.
So much for your time.
Go ahead.
Cannot
Thanks,
wait to
guys.
meet you in person.
Yes.
Until next time, remember the core of success is you.
Big things.